undershirt under there.
Dude, it's cold.
Cold, like
I did.
crazy cold. I saw pictures of Florida in the Gulf of frickin' snow in the panhandle, like with the water running right up to the snow. I don't believe
Yeah.
that's ever happened. And, for the last, what, 50, 60,000 years, maybe?
Mm. What was the other place that really caught me off guard was besides here, which nobody talked about snow in any of the South Carolina brochures I looked at. Just that, oh no, we never get that. But we did get that. It was New Orleans. And anyway, they were actually having a snowball fight down on Bourbon Street.
I saw
So
that.
that was pretty funny to watch. But here, the interesting thing is, for the first time, um, I'm living in an area that doesn't have snow removal of any type because they don't get it, right? So 3 inches of snow has shut everything down. Um, but you think about it too, living in South Carolina, where we're at here in the Low Country, when the ground freezes, there's really not a whole lot of place for that water to go either. So it just refreezes again. And so having all that cold temperature and not having a lot of bright, shiny days, that has really impeded the snow removal to naturally happen. And yeah, they shut down all the bridges down around Charleston yesterday.
I it's only going to be 74 here today.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I really am. I'm happy that somebody isn't cold and miserable like I am when I go outside just to go get mail or to take the dog out, and then so the dogs can look at me and say, you know what? It's too cold to do my business. I want to go back in.
Yeah. But
You
I
know?
think it's there's nowhere safe though because, if you just go up the road an hour and a half, there's fires, and we had some fires yesterday around the San Diego area. So while I'm
Yeah.
like kind of, little, oh, hey, it's not freezing here. Hotter than the hinges, if
It
you
can be
will.
hot as hell in a heartbeat
Yeah.
like that.
Oh goodness. But yeah, I talked to my stepmom yesterday and she lives in Phoenix and it was going to be freezing there. So like you just have to go a little bit outside. We're down here in San Diego where the porridge that was just right. It'll make it hard
Yeah.
to leave one day.
In Omaha last week, or actually this week, I'm sorry, they got down to, I think, wind chill of like 27 below. My daughter, where she lives in Iowa, they got to 30 below wind chill. Um, it's just, yeah, there's no reason for it to be that cold. And 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 then just, yeah, get 3 inches of snow and have it shut you down. I couldn't even open up my screen door because I had a 5 inch drift in front of
Wow.
that iced up. I'm like,
Do you
and Dan, I remember looking at my I remember looking at my snow shovel when I left and thinking to myself in the garage, I will never have to use this thing again. How awesome is that? I didn't pack it. I should have, but I didn't.
Do you remember, and I don't know if this hit you as hard or not. I lived on the East Coast at this time, but I think it was 77 or 78. There was a huge blizzard. And I don't know if so you were in Iowa at that time.
Yeah,
Was it a
yeah,
huge
and
blizzard?
we,
Like this was one that I mean, I lived in Lexington Park, Maryland. We had snow drifts that went all the way up to our roof. Like it was huge blizzard. I think it was 77 or 78.
Nebraska got hit too. Omaha, I remember around that time had a really, really big one. And being a kid living on the farms in Iowa, though, I mean, we would have snow drifts that literally went parallel to the sides of the road. I mean, the wind just whips when you don't have any trees or anything like that. I mean, being in the plain states like Nebraska and Iowa, yeah, you end up with some really gnarly drifts, really gnarly drifts.
Man. All right. So, hey, we have Albert is on here, one of our new
All
installers.
right.
So, welcome aboard, Albert. And we were texting earlier, so he knows what the topic for today is going to be. And I think he's got some. He was peppering questions
Awesome.
at me on the text, and I was like, "Why don't you ask me when we're Damon and I are doing the live, and you'll make
Yeah.
this whole thing a lot more lively." All right. So, hey, today we decided that the topic was going to be we're going to talk about all things ceramic coatings. As last week we kind of covered the product line and gave everybody, a little sneak peek or a definition or description, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, of what the product line is and how they all kind of work together synergetically. So, I thought today let's go to the other side of our life and talk about these ceramic coatings. And we got Dale Blankenship is on here too. If you want to make Dale Blankenship
Dale?
happy, you always return your cart, and then he'll be happy. That's how he is.
You know what? I'm not going to disagree with Dale on that one. I can't tell you how many carts myself that weren't mine, or they're called buggies out here. I don't know how many times I've gone to a buggy and it wasn't mine and took it back just because I've seen it. I've seen it way too many times when that thing just starts rolling and it goes and hits somebody's car, you know? And I also think it's kind of pointless to go ahead and jack up one wheel up on a curb so it just sits there and it takes up a part of the parking space. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm right there with Dale when it comes to being, basically a buggy parking lot Nazi.
I've gone to so far as when I see one and I put mine back, I give the camera to Angel and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna put this back," and she's like, "What are you filming?" I'm like, "It's for Dale," and she's like, "Okay."
It's ridiculous. But hey, even a ceramic coating ain't gonna stop that from giving it a dent. It's not gonna happen.
And ec excellent roll into the next part of what we're talking about
That's
here.
what I do.
You are absolutely correct. So, ceramic coatings. Let's kind of just talk a little bit about first of all, anybody, if you have any questions or comments, put them into the chat. We want to make this more interactive with you guys. Um, I think one of the big things with ceramic coatings is a lot of the people don't really describe it well enough, or they oversell it. And they don't really say what it's good for, and you know that because some of the comments that you see from people who have a ceramic coating, and then they'll have some sort of an issue, like, they'll make their wife mad and their car gets keyed or something to that effect.
Mhm.
I'm just like being a little dramatic to say it's not a be all end all magic shield that will stop meteorite strikes. But if you're looking for something that is going to keep your car glossier, protected from a lot of the environmental impacts like UV fading and bug guts and bird turd and
Mhm.
those kind of things, and make it easier to wash for you, that's really what a ceramic coating is best for.
You bring up a really good point too. You say it's being oversold. I honestly I don't look at the installers or the detailers or the ones that are overselling it. Manufacturers, when coatings first came out, manufacturers oversold it, you know. And in fact, it's continuing to be oversold even online to now where your customer today, when he goes online to, or she goes online even to go ahead and look up a ceramic coating, it ends up being somewhere between bulletproof and being snake oil. And the truth is it lies somewhere in between, right? I mean, it's definitely stronger and better than wax, but it's not going to stop rock chips. It's not going to stop rock chips. um you know, Formulas can strengthen paint, but necessarily ain't going to make it bulletproof. And I think that's what's really difficult too, is because you have customers who come in with a preconceived notion of what ceramic is and what a ceramic could cost. Because I mean, they can go through a tunnel wash and get that extra $5 add-on to have a ceramic seal put on their way out. So why is your ceramic coating so expensive when I can just go through a tunnel wash and get it for so cheap? So the customers themselves are being inundated with mixed messages, and I think it's also difficult for detailers to, because they're gleaning their same information off the same search engines, that it's tough to relate to it to the customer and put it into a form where the expectations are real.
The other thing that over and over, and this is a hot button. There's more to a ceramic coating than just having your surface be hydrophobic when you shoot a hose on it. And I think that since the inception of ceramic coatings, it's so so dramatic when you very first coat any car, like when that paint surface is completely flat and there's no fallout, there's no minerals, there's nothing sitting on top of it. I mean, you have a polished flat surface, you have a hydrophobic ceramic coating, and it's very, very hydrophobic. Now, so many factors can play into that, but detailers, we've kind of all, and I've been guilty of this too, but we've all made videos of just shooting the water on there, which it's really, when you're highlighting that as the only thing that the ceramic coating is good for, you're skipping over all of the things that it actually does, that are super important. Now, when it's beating water or when the water's coming off of it, that does show you that the stuff is not sticking to your surface as much. But again, there can be so many factors that even a ceramic coated car, will not be hydrophobic. It makes me think of me and old guy that I used to work with. We did this thing in a college class up in Cypress College when Ed Twillinger was teaching there, and we did a demo and we did ceramic coating, and we are the ones who coated the front of Ed's truck for the class. And he called a week later and he's like, "Hey, this coating is really flat. Something's wrong with it." And we went back and forth and back and forth. What we had come to find out was he had used, and I the story would be so much better if I had the right answer for this. But we used a McGuire's product on there that was a car wash soap. And there was something in that specific soap that took away the hydrophobics. And we kind of, through going back and forth, figured that out. So, I mean, that just goes to show you the paint wasn't hydrophobic, but it was a 1 week old ceramic coating that, me and another trainer had put onto a car. So it was done correct, but it wasn't hydrophobic. But that didn't mean that there was no ceramic coating on there.
Correct. And but the problem is, what I think is very difficult about ceramic coating is the fact it's clear, right? You know, and the one way that we've always proven that there's protection is by some type of beading. I look at your green screen behind you. It's got water beads. You know, the protection is there. Whereas for me, if I'm looking at something and I'm seeing hydrophilics where it's actually beginning to dry itself, to me that almost it's going to be very weird. But let's look at it this way: water beads create water spots. That's how they get there. I would much rather have a coating that was hydrophilic and self-drying. Now, is that as sexy as water beads? Does it film as well? No, it doesn't. So we want to make sure that we do give the customer something that they can see and something that's tangible. But it's only a facet of what a coating can do. You were talking about bug stains and other things. That to me is a much bigger asset as far as with the coating and what it can do than just simply creating water beads. Having that type of protection, having that sacrificial layer is literally what a coating is. It is a sacrificial layer. And also something that's supposedly that not supposedly something that will make your life easier as far as when it comes to cleaning and maintaining the vehicle.
Yeah. Um, and then there's the different kinds of ceramic coatings that we have at Owner's Pride. We have two
Right.
different chemistries for our ceramic coatings. And I think that there's some mail or something being dropped off. So we might hear old man Beauregard yelling in the background. And I apologize for that.
Yep.
We have our solvent-based coating, which is a little bit thinner of a coating, and the system of that coating is the ceramic is in the solvent carrier, and you put a nice wet layer of solvent onto your panel, and then all of the ceramic coating does a chemical silicon carbide cross-link to the substrate, and then the solvent just beads up on top, and you wipe it off. And then our other one is our self-healing. You want to talk about that?
Well, and before we talk about the self-healing too, I think, what you're talking about is the fact that the coatings are an SiC, silicon carbide. Right. So it is actually getting into the clear coat. It's dropping down there a couple microns, anchoring, and then leveling, which what that does is actually strengthen the paint itself. And that's the biggest difference between like an SiC and an SiO2. When we're describing it to our customers in the shop, and periodically we get asked that question, why is this different than an SiO2? We just try to help them with a very basic visual of one is more like duct tape being and SiO2. The other one's more like a Velcro being like SiC, where it's getting down in there, it attaches itself and it strengthens the substrate. Um, what you'll find with SiC coatings typically are more durable. The other thing with an SiC coating, the gloss is usually more glass-like, and that's what I really love about the SiC coatings. You're asking about the next one up is our self-healing. And I think the most important thing about the self-healing is to be able to keep it in context of what it can and can't do. You know, Sometimes when you talk about a self-healing coating, people got a little they think it can do more than what it actually can. And when you look at the basic chemistry of it, it's kind of like, to give it a simple visual, like a memory foam, right? So the scratch itself is basically a contact mark. And what it does is it goes back in shape, just like memory foam. If that memory foam was cut, it can't go back together. It's the same thing with the ceramic coating. If that coating is cut all the way through, the self-healing isn't going to go ahead and meld itself back. It's not like a mutant healing factor or anything like that.
Yeah. And another kind of way to think about the SiO2 coatings, or I mean, if we go back to the chemist who designed our coatings originally that we spoke to back at the very beginning, he said that, and you've used this analogy a lot with the spaghetti sauce. Like all of the ceramic
Hmm.
coatings are similar in the fact that it's a chain of polymers, and then there's a different substituent grafted onto the backbone of the coating. And you'll see a lot of the people now, there's like, SiC coatings, SiO2 coatings, and there's people bringing new things to the forefront all the time. It really seems like the ones that have been around the longest and have a proven track record, like silicon carbide and SiO2, really seem to
Hmm.
reign supreme. We see a lot of things that come online and then they kind of fizzle. They make a shake things up for a second and everybody tries it, but they all keep going back to the same, to that, like what we have.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a tried and true method. And when we're comparing it to spaghetti sauce, it's just like, you go to a grocery store and how many jars look exactly the same as spaghetti sauce. And when you look at the label, it looks the same, right? I mean, you read the ingredient list. But I mean, it's just an ingredient list. It doesn't say where those tomatoes came from. It doesn't tell you exactly how much of the tomatoes are in there, or what kind of additives for how much was sugar in them, and so forth and so on. But yet, it might be in the same container and even have the same look to it, but it's going to have a different flavoring to it. And you're right, there are a ton of similarities when you look at ceramic coatings as far as their basics, their foundation, the structure, so forth and so on. But there are areas in which you can increase slickness, durability, UV blockers, those kind of things. So that is available to be put into a ceramic coating to differentiate it from others.
So if we start going through kind of our line of ceramic coatings, I think it's interesting something that you said earlier. Like you can't go to a Walmart or through a tunnel car wash or anything without having some ceramic laid on you.
Hmm.
So as we kind of look at our ceramic stuff that we have, we'll start all the way with the very friendly to use DIY type of product. Like we have our OP Slick, our OP
Hmm.
Ceramic Plus, and then the ceramic detailer. And these are all essentially, there's ceramic, if you will,
Hmm.
in these. This one's a little less longer lasting, and this one's a much longer lasting, and it's based on the same chemistry as our actual ceramic coating solvent, but it's in a detail spray carrier. This is a fantastic product. And this is a great product. It
Yeah.
just depends on what kind of longevity. But you're essentially, if you're putting these onto your vehicle, you're putting a ceramic onto it. Just one that is not as long of lasting because the amount of the raw material is less.
Yep. Yeah, a lot less solids. And like you're talking about those ceramic coatings there, you look at ceramic detailer, that product alone is an amazing water-based SiO2. that you can put on any exterior surface on a vehicle, whether it be glass, plastics, raw plastics, even wheel faces. You're going to gain protection from that. And I think, the other thing too to recognize is the reason why we have moved away from wax-based or more organic, protection is because we need something that's going to last longer. And waxes themselves, they only hold up to about, no, anywhere from 100 maybe to 160 some, 140 to 160 some degrees before you begin to get melting. I mean, ceramic coatings, we're talking about into the thousands, especially when you deal with our solvent-based coatings. You're talking about a couple thousand degrees Fahrenheit. Some of the first uses, ceramic coatings were on the heat tiles for the space shuttle. So, I mean, it's got so much more durability than what we've been previously putting on to protect our vehicles decades ago.
Yeah. And also they were using them in the internals of like big earth mover engines to reduce some of the
Hmm.
friction and heat that was being produced. So absolutely, when somebody calls and says, "Hey, I'm putting this on the engine of a car or somewhere on an exhaust or something, can it handle it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's literally made to handle that."
Yeah, some more than others, but I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it has that kind of durability, which is pretty mind-boggling, really, especially when you think about how thin of a layer you're putting on in comparison to the material that it's going on to.
Okay, so if you're a detailer and you're doing some, detailing somebody's car and you get to the last step and you use some ceramic detailer or slick, you're essentially putting a ceramic sealant on there. And if you're doing your own car at your house, kind of the same story. These are super easy to use products, and if you use them on a regular basis, like every time you wash your car, you're essentially going to have some ceramic on that car all the time. Again, not as long lasting. So it's not going to be as resilient as a real ceramic coating, which we'll dive into here in a minute. But essentially, when you look at the car wash tunnel thing that you go through and it says ceramic, or the stuff that you see in the stores, this is essentially what it is. But again, we have professional products without professional problems, so we have a little step up.
Yeah, I mean, with slick, you're looking at 4 to 6 months protection. I mean, with a ceramic detailer, you know, um, 6 to 8. If it's not being driven a ton, I mean, you can get up to 12 months out of that product. Um, but again, depending on driving conditions and how you maintain a vehicle.
Yep. And it's so economical for you to do, especially you guys who are, if you're any of our regular, consumers watching this and you take care of your own car, easy, easy, easy to do. No special training is
Yeah,
needed for that. But
no,
okay.
and it'd be
Now,
applied wet or dry.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that video that I made early on where the car was across the street in the lot, and I just like the paint was peeling off of it and I shot ceramic
Yep.
detailer on there and it automatically went hydrophobic? That was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's still, I mean, it's one of the originals when you look at it. And with that formula and everything that we put into that thing, it's a beast. It really is. It's a beast of a sealant.
Okay. So then if we move up the ladder, just one notch up, we do have ceramic coatings that are professional grade, but they are available to our consumers. So similar to the project that Dustin and I did a couple weeks ago with Ruben Aguilar, the San Francisco 49er dad, we had him come in and we worked with him and taught him how to put ceramic coating on his own car. And at some point, I'm going to be able to wade my way through 7 hours of 3 video cameras worth of editing and get that that thing done. Holy mackerel, that's a whole unbelievable.
Yep.
Um, but we use the OPX Lite. So we have two consumer coatings that you can get. And if anybody out there is, from the car culture world and you're watching this too, or you're looking at it to do your own car, I would more than happily make a video for you, or even go on live to kind of walk you through how to do some of this. And we also have some training classes coming up. I know that Dustin's shop is going to start doing wash clinics for some of the car clubs, and we're lining those up right now, which these are going to be another great place to do that and see it live. So if you're just a regular consumer of products, we can also check in your area, and your detailer might be there to show you how to do this too. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So go ahead. OPX Lite and then OP Pro.
No, actually, OPX Lite, I think, is the only retail coating out there that's self-healing. And again, when I'm talking about self-healing, we're talking about self-healing from light wash scratches, some light micro marring, those kind of things. What kind of longevity can you expect with the OPX Lite? You're looking at around 2 years, is what you're looking at. And then that's a really, really good, solid conservative number. It's not stretching that one out by any means. One of the things I personally like about it is it's easy to apply. And when you look at the majority of our coatings, that is something that we really tried to do for not just our installers, but also for the retail side. For our installers, my biggest worry as an installer was my final step, which is putting on the coating, which if something went wrong, it was like going back to step one, you know, and you can always buy and gain more product. You can never buy and gain more time. And that's the one thing that just drove me absolutely nuts. So in designing our ceramic coatings, I wanted to make sure that they were user friendly. So that as a business, if you had that customer who came into your business or you had that phone call, you could still take those calls. You could still go ahead and conduct business and move on with your day without feeling like, okay, it's going to take me an hour, hour and a half to apply this coating. I need to block that off, and I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody or communicate. You know, that used to just drive me nuts. But with the OPX Lite, it's something that's very simple to apply. Um, and when we talk about applying it for retail, definitely don't want to apply it in the sunlight. You want to be in a shaded area. You want to be in your garage. It's like with any other car care product, you do not want to apply it when the vehicle is hot. And as always, make sure it's just prepped. Make sure the surface is as clean as possible before you're applying it. So, I mean, the OPX to me, being self-healing coating and being retail, I think it's just amazing. Now, if you're not into self-healing and you're looking for solid ceramic coating that's easy to apply to, OP Pro is amazing. You can put it on raw plastics, painted plastics, wheel faces. We use it quite often in our shop on areas that aren't covered underneath the warranty. So if we are using our warranty coating and we have an area that's not going to be warranted, say that's not painted plastic, then that's what we'll use on those areas. Um, it's just a solid coating. My favorite part about using it is on the shower. I use it on the shower doors. And glass is so easy to clean. Um, you get a lot less water that is sticking to the surface of your shower glass because it's so slick. And then when it goes to squeegee it off, it just glides. It's so simple.
Ah,
Oh, I don't have
I
anything
can
else to I don't have a detail shop anymore, Dan. I mean,
no.
I'm out here in South Carolina. The only thing I get to detail is my house. So even today, I detailed my stove using Spiffy and some other products. Okay. And in fact, I even took a picture of Spiffy next to the stainless steel because Spiffy is great on stainless steel. I can say that over and over again and be incredibly confident about it. So there's to me that I think that's the other thing when you look at ceramic coatings, they go past just even your car. It also goes to other items that you can coat and make your life easier.
All right, so little side note. So my dad was like, a super neat Nick type of guy, and every time, and you just made me think of this. So every time I'm done taking a shower and I have the squeegee and I'm standing there with no clothes in the shower, squeegee in the door, I always think of my dad.
Didn't need that visual.
Now I'm gonna think of you too, and I'm a little bit salty about all that, but thank you so much. Right? I know, and that's what
You don't
that's
have to
that's
think
what
about
made
me in
me
the shower,
laugh.
Dan.
That's just what made
Okay.
me laugh. Yeah, it's your fault,
Okay.
man. Your fault. Thanks. Okay, so OPX Lite and OP Pro, both just stellar coatings that are easy to install. And you're right. I remember when I started doing ceramic coatings, it was a lot more difficult. And some of this ceramic coating systems out there, you have to keep a car in a bay for multiple days and like wait hours in between layers, and like it's just It's bananas. I tell all the guys that are coming on with us, we thought of it like this. We want to see you spend less time walking around the car chasing high spots and more time walking to the bank to make a deposit.
Yeah. You know, I mean, honestly, it should be something that's efficient and be able to help you make more money being efficient. And not only that, but make sure that you got more time to spend doing the things you enjoy. And that's probably spending time with your family, your friends, and those kind of things. You know, I mean, it's just, yeah, it, it, it is about the money, but it's also about your time.
Let's see. Let's catch up on a couple of these. We got I think Jimmy Sluter, our rep. His new nickname is Hollywood. Um, he said, "Hey, what's up, guys?" Dale said that escalated quickly, which is funny. Kyle said, "The ceramic coating is a sacrificial layer that would rather abuse than the paint," and I think that's spot on, spot on. Um, yep. Okay. So I have a little video. You asked me to make a video for a guy who's coming on to be a new one of our installers. Did you see that video? I CC'd you on the email.
Didn't get a chance to see it. Yeah, but yeah, I saw it was attached to that email.
You want to see it real quick? It's only like a minute and a half, but I kind of go through and I show how to install the ceramic coatings and the difference between the OPX and the solvent-based coating. So there's a minute
Oh,
and 30
okay.
seconds, and we'll just put it on right here. And in a happy, perfect world, we're gonna go to a little screen over here, just you and I, and the video is gonna play, and it's gonna work out cool. Who knows? Hey Brian, how are you doing? Dan Williams here from Owner's Pride. Damon asked me if I'd make a little video for you and send it over onto the installation of our ceramic coatings. I'm going to do two different coatings for you here. I'm going to do the Owner's Pride, which is our solvent-based coating. This is our OP Pro 3, 5, and 7. And then I have my OPX, which is our self-healing ceramic coating. They're both going to apply pretty darn similarly, but there's going to be a little bit of a difference. So first, I'm going to open up my bottle of OP solvent-based coating, and I'm going to put some right on the edge of my applicator pad. I've got my surface all prepped and ready to go. I'm just going to install a nice wet layer of coating onto the panel, cross-link as such, and then I'm going to let it sit. And I will take the camera in a little tighter so we can see down here that we have a nice wet layer of coating on the surface. After about 30 seconds to a minute, what you will notice is it starts to break up into little sweat beads. With the solvent-based coating, we say lay it wet and let it sweat. It's a very, very easy application. When it breaks up into those sweat beads and it's a nice uniform pattern, like that, like that, like that, then all you have to do is take your low nap microfiber towel and do a quick wipe. And there you have it. It's that easy. Now I'm going to show you the subtle difference between the OPX and the OPX Lite. Those are self-healing ceramic coatings, so you're going to notice it's going to be a lot more viscous, and it's going to go onto the panel the same way, but it's going to break up just a little different. Check this out. Now I have my OPX Lite. I'm going to apply it the same way by putting it, I like to put it on the lead edge. It doesn't matter if you make an X, an O, however you put it on here. This coating is going to go on very similar. I'm going to go this way, and then I'm going to cross hatch, and then I'm just going to let it sit. Now you can see this is going to start to break up a little bit also. However, this is going to not break into the little tiny sweat beads so much as just into bigger, chunkier pieces. This coating we're going to let sit on here for a minute to 2 minutes. It's going to depend on your atmosphere, your ambient temperature. When it breaks up nice like this, so you can see, it's not in the little sweat beads so much as bigger, chunkier lines. And when it breaks up like that, then we're going to wipe over it. You'll notice it feels a little sticky at first. And then after you wipe over it with that towel, take a nice fluffy towel for one more wipe. And voila. If you have any questions, and that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty darn easy.
It's really easy. You know, and I think that the hardest thing is that if it's easy, then it must not be good. You know, it and I think that's the one part to try to get over mentally, you know, with everyone it's meant to be easy. It's meant to be good. It's meant to be something that you know is there. I like self-healing coatings, especially being here in the South, because I know the ambient temperature is, well, not usually like this, but it's constantly rehealing itself too. And if you're a person that's really big into hydrophobics, then I definitely say, hey, the self-healing coatings are definitely what you're looking for because that coating is constantly healing itself. It's keeping that surface nice and smooth, whereas the light scratches and everything else become more difficult for water to pass over. And as it heals and then it gets nice and smooth again, water easily goes off of it, and that's how you're able to maintain the beating with self-healing coatings.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I tell you, I think for your like show cars and hot rods and classic cars, all that kind of stuff, that the OPX is the way to go. Same story that I tell every time, but I have had access to ceramic coatings and I've had a hot rod for 12, 13 years. I never put a coating on it. When we got our self-healing ceramic coating, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." I have not, and I would polish that car every time before a car show. I have not done it for a year and a half, and it looks stunning, stunning in the light. There are no swirls. It's amazing. So that's
It does what it's supposed to do, and it's taking care of the light wash scratches and micro mowing that just can naturally happen during your washing and in your maintenance.
okay. Now let's take a step into the realm of professional. And right before I do that, though, I want to say, so anybody who's watching, yes, putting that ceramic coating on is pretty straightforward and easy. So why would you even go to somebody to get it done? Well, all of the prep work to get your car ready for it, that's multiple steps, and that's where the real hard work comes in. That the professional detailers who have trained and they know what they're doing and they can get all the decontamination off of your paint and polish your paint correctly and prep the paint so it will accept that ceramic coating and actually be viable and long lasting. That's what you're paying for when you get it done, as well as if you're getting an owner's pride ceramic coating from one of our authorized installers. They also, it comes with a warranty, so you're truly covered even if your coating, anything goes sideways. So that's I just wanted to point that out because I know when Dustin and I had Ruben at the shop and we, kind of walked him through everything, he was like, "Wow, that's so easy." But when we really were like, "Yeah, putting that ceramic coating onto the panel was pretty darn easy, but think back of all of the steps that we just did." And he was like, "Yeah, we just spent 5 hours doing all of these other things together on the paint first."
Right. And honestly, too, you look at this, and if you compare it to, say, a DIY homeowner, you could paint your own house. You could go get the exact same paint that your painter is using, right? Why? Why is there such a difference? Well, you're dealing with somebody that's a professional painter who knows how to prep the surface, have it done, and has the equipment to do it right. I think what's interesting is in that video, you're using the light just like a professional would to be able to see where it is and when it's time to go ahead and knock down the coating. And when you're paying somebody else to do it, you're actually paying them for their experience, you know, and especially the prep work. You can have a beautiful house, but that foundation is crappy, it's not worth anything. So them and what they are able to do as far as prepping it, they are laying the solid foundation and put that coating on there to give it the best ability to adhere, and also to perform for you. So I think that's the other thing that gets missed out in that is you're actually paying for somebody's expertise on this,
Again, these guys, they put time in, whether it's being on the internet, going to training classes, going to shows
right?
like Mobile Tech that you're going to be at here next week, or going to a training like Dustin and Jamie Gonzalez and I are doing out here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Professional. Okay, so let's talk about our exterior coatings in the solvent category for our warranted year coatings. We have a 3 year, a 5 year, and a 7 year. And the difference in those, I'd like to describe it to the fellas like this. If you were to look at OP Pro 3, 5, and 7, what's the difference? Why would you have a different warranty term for each of those? Well, I believe that the amount of the raw ceramic that's in each of the
Mhm.
formulations is it's like a stair step, so it goes up. Your application gets a little bit more precise or tricky as you have more of that and less of the solvent. And you have with more of the raw ceramic material, it's going to last for a longer amount of time. And that's kind of the expensive part that they put into the ceramic coatings itself.
Yeah, it's the solids themselves. And as you're going up, it's not necessarily you are increasing the difficulty in the application, um, because you have more solids involved. But I think also when you look at this, when we talk to our installers and when we vet, we look at how long you've been doing this. Um, how many years have you had your business? We look at these kind of things and talk to them and find out how how trainable everybody is too, because there are going to be some difficulties because it's a harder coating to apply, but in the same token, it's still something that they can apply fairly simply, and put out an end result in a product that's really, really, really going to make the customer happy. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters. It's making the customer happy for everyone.
And the thing with these coatings, we're super confident in the coatings, and we actually put a real compliant warranty program together to go with these. So this is just a little kind of a difference. I just wanted to show people what a warranty actually looks like. There's certain things that are on an actual warranty piece of paper that make it a real warranty. This has a 1-800 number. If you have any trouble with anything that's covered in this warranty, you call a 1-800 number from all 50 states and you're going to find adjudication. We're going to make you whole. Doesn't matter if there's not another owner's pride installer. Say your guy gets it done in Dallas, Texas, and he moves to the middle of Montana. We don't have a lot of installers in Montana. If you're in Montana and you would like to be an installer, go to ownerspride.com, click on become an
Yeah.
installer because we could use some. But even if there wasn't one there and you move there, you call 1-800 number, we'll find somebody to fix your problem. Another thing that a warranty would have that makes it a compliant real warranty is an aggregate. So an aggregate is the number that you can make claims up to during the term of a warranty. And then a written express warranty as well. A lot of guys that do come to us, they if they do have a problem or their customer, we don't say, "Hey, that's user error. You're on your own," you know, because you kind of can't do that. Instead, we have a written express warranty that literally says everything that's covered and even lists things that aren't covered, what the remedy is going to be for each of those things. So there's transparency and clarity, and that is what we're confident enough to put behind our warranties. Now, could we make more money if we didn't have that? Yeah, because there's a cost associated where we take a risk as we insure something. But you know
Mhm.
what? That was what you snagged me to come over and work with you in this company for. Is we had something that nobody else had and it was legal compliant. And I said, well, shoot, if we're going to try to build a business, if we're putting it on a solid foundation and doing everything legal and building it for the long term, how can we lose?
And let's just bring it up too, as far as warranty goes. To be an actual FTC compliant warranty, we cannot mandate somebody bring the vehicle in and pay for a service in order to keep that warranty. If that is the kind of warranty you have, it's not necessarily legally, it's not called a warranty. It's actually legally called a service agreement, is what it is. And so that's the other big thing as far as with these warranties and keeping them compliant. It doesn't mean that we don't recommend maintenance. I recommend maintenance on every coating. Every year it's a good thing to bring your vehicle in and get a decontamination wash done to remove anything that's on top of the coating so your coating can go back to working the way and looking the way that you first got it. Um, but I can't mandate that, otherwise it's not a warranty.
Oh. Just another kind of thing that a lot of guys ask when they're jumping on board with owner's pride is they're like, how much do I have to sell this for? And, we can't literally mandate you have to sell things for X amount of money either. We have to do things a little bit different here at owner's pride, and
You mean you
everything
got to do
has to,
things the right way? You mean you got
yeah.
to do it legally?
Yeah,
It's so weird. It's so yeah. I mean, because when you're talking about the pricing, right? And we're talking about a suggested retail price. We do have a suggested retail price. What you might want to be charging for your area. If we mandate and say no, you got to sell it at this price. I can't legally force somebody to do that unless I own a franchise, and then I run into franchise laws. It's it really that kind of still irks me over the years, and just seeing how that's been pushed on onto detailers, and causing a lot of extra stress that doesn't need to be there. You've already got the world against you when you're a small business owner. You don't need somebody else telling you you have to make you have to charge this or that's it. Now, if we find out somebody's making a race to the bottom, with a service, we can decide just not to sell. I mean, and it's our way of helping regulate regulate the industry.
So so those are all the solvent-based coatings, the 3, 5, and 7, and then our kind of top tier coating that we have is a self-healing ceramic coating, and it's a 9-year
Mhm.
OP Select, and that's kind of reserved for our more of our top tier installers um, who are just doing the bigger business, and that coating is just amazing. Like the depth and the gloss and the self-healing capabilities, it's just amazing.
It's a great coating, and what makes it really unique too is it's a two-part coating, but it's a wet on wet application. And what my favorite part of it is seeing the coating the next day. Because I mean, that vehicle that it's on will pop. It will glow. Um, and maintaining it and keeping your vehicle clean after that's on, it really is just a beast of a coating. I absolutely love it. Um, I know when we were working on it, we're working on just keeping it one step, and we're like, no, with two, it just had this look about it. It just really did. I love the depth that it brings to the paint, the gloss, the self-healing hydrophobics part of it too, is amazing, and it's just an incredibly durable coating. In fact, at the shop there in Omaha, Bob Ellis is one of our first coating customers there at that shop, like 8, 9 years ago. And Bob has been part of the evolution of all of our coatings. He's been part of the company as a customer, plus as an owner there at the shop. He coats everything. And I remember when we did his truck in the OP9, and that was 2 years ago. And Bob just goes, you know what? There's one thing I miss about this coating. I said, what's that? And he goes, I don't have to wash my truck as much. And Bob is an avid maintenance truck washing person. I mean,
He's the
he's
one
into
that
show
does the
cars,
clinics
he's
to
into
wash.
maintenance. Yeah. I mean, that's Bob, you know? And he goes, he goes, right away, he goes, I can tell you there's something different about the coating. Um, it really is. It's different to put on being the wet on wet application, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. It's just it like I said, it really is. It's right where it needs to be as far as a top tier coating.
And Albert asked, "Can you describe in detail the installation process?" So, first of all, Albert, in the pin posts on Owner's Pride Ceramic, our private group, there's a video where I was at Dustin's shop and I actually put it on. But to describe it in detail, basically, when you saw the video that I just played a couple minutes ago of the OPX going on, as soon as it breaks up like that into those chunky kind of lines, you take part two and put it directly on top and then immediately wipe it. And that is, what really sold me on the coding is they had the forethought to make it so you don't have to put on that first layer and then wait for 45 minutes or 2 hours to put on the second coat. And that
Yeah.
makes it still efficient, so it's still fit into our system that we push.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you and I were talking about, you're like, you sure it's gonna be a two-part? You really want to do a two-part? How long you have to wait between part one, part two? And then after I told you, just wait till you apply it, you know? And again, it's not as difficult as you'd think for a two-part coating.
Check 1 2 1 2. Is that better, Kyle? I apologize. I think I have my microphone set to be close to me and it was pulled away. Can and just if you let me know if you can hear, that would be excellent. Okay, sorry about that. I know last week I had to run the darn video through a filter to fix it. Okay, so those are our car coatings, and now we have an interior coating as well. So the interior coating
Mhm.
is once again, it's only good for cars up to 3 years old, and is the reason for that. Let me see. My sound looks like I should be. If anybody else is having trouble hearing me, please let me know. I will work further, but it's good for cars only up to 3 years old because if you're rolling around in a car for more than 3 years, you're probably doing some damage that we would just be putting the product on top of. So this is really more for your newer vehicles, and most of the detailers, if they're not, should be selling this in a bundle with their exterior package together.
Right. At the shop, we do our Defender package, and it's the OP7 and the interior with a 7-year warranty. And that goes together as far as the Defender package. The application of it, very easy. You will see if you apply it to leather, to vinyls, you'll see the rainbow haze, and then you know it's time to knock it down. When it comes to the carpet, you go ahead, you spray it onto the fabric, and you work it in. The unique thing about the formula is that when you work it in, it goes and wraps around the fibers rather than just staying on the surface of the carpet or if it's a cloth seat or something like that. It's actually getting in there and wrapping itself around the individual fibers. Um, so the application is pretty much straightforward. I think interior wise, it's great. It makes it a lot easier to keep your interior clean. If you got kids who are constantly putting stuff in the cup holders, you want to make sure you get into the cup holders because it's going to make cleaning those cup holders a lot easier for you. And then as far as if you're an installer, the great thing about as being an installer, you're able to provide a warranty if you would like with the customers. And that warranty is a rip and tear of up to an inch, punctures up to a quarter of an inch. Um, not only that, but the stains or anything spills or those kind of things. And again, it comes with an interior warranty card that explains exactly what's covered, what's not covered, and how it's going to be repaired. You know, it's a pretty substantial warranty, and no, it goes with the product. It's not saying the product is going to stop a rip and tear or a puncture. Nobody's saying that. Just to be very factual on it, that is not what I'm saying because I don't want to oversell it.
Yeah, that's what I tell the guys. I'm like, "Hey, is it gonna stop a knife from going through a seat? No. But you know what? If that happens, you call a 1-800 number, your customer does, and they get taken care of. Like, yeah, obviously something went sideways and but it is covered. If your dashboard cracks due to the sun just baking on it and drying it out during the term of the warranty, you call a 1-800 number and it
Yep.
gets fixed.
Yep.
It just seems so simple. It really does. Okay.
We try to keep it that way.
So then we also have ceramic coating programs with products that are specific for the substrates. We have RVs and boats, which are going to have a very similar because a lot of those are going to be a gel coat, but a lot of them are going to be painted also. So the coatings for those products are made for those substrates, and they also come with a compliant warranty program. Heck, you could even do side by sides and snowmobiles. Um, Albert asked, "Do they pay separately for the interior warranty?" Yes, that's a separate product.
Yes.
Um, although maybe I'm just as I've never really even thought about this before. Maybe we should sell them in a bundle, so you get both of them, and there's a couple dollars off if you buy the package even from us in a bundle. Traditionally, you would just buy each of the things and sell it to your customer
Mm,
and charge as you wish. But interesting
yeah.
thought that I never really thought of. And we have a glass coating as well that has carbon nanotubes in it that actually I kind of describe that to guys as you have a piece of glass and it looks flat to the naked eye, but there's actually a lot of little hills and valleys in that glass. And This coating goes in and fills in all those hills and valleys. And the idea is if road debris comes up and hits your glass, it's not going to hit in one little tiny pinpoint area, but it'll spread the impact out to a wider area and lessen the chance of your glass breaking by like 33%, as well as making it
Yeah.
hydrophobic.
And we've all seen like broken windshield glasses. We've seen, automobile glass when it's broken, and it always breaks in jagged, like little cubes, right? And so with your windshield, you have these fissures that go throughout the glass. It's designed to break. It really is. It's designed to break in a certain way. Um, so with this product, with the carbon nanotubes, it gets into the fissures of the glass, like what you're describing, gets down to the valleys, it gets into those fissures and it strengthens the glass. In fact, it strengthens the glass up to 32%. So having those fissures within that glass, you're right. It's almost like it kind of creates like a net inside there so that when that impact hits, it disperses out that energy. Um, Great product. I absolutely love it. We have it on all of our windshields on our vehicles, and to me, the other thing I love about it is the hydrophobics to it too. It's like having Rain-X on steroids. Not that I'm always about hydrophobics, because if you have dirty wipers, you have a lot of dust, sand that's sitting on your windshield. Abrasion is the worst thing for any ceramic coating, both interior, exterior, or even glass. It's the enemy of it all. But those hydrophobics can always be brought back by using just a little bit of ceramic detail or a slick.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there is a surface on a vehicle, we pretty much have something to put on there that's going to protect it. It's
Yeah.
safe on. Well, I mean, think about this of the question. This is more. He asked if it was safe on tint. It's more of an exterior product than an interior
Yep.
product, and your tint is going to be on the inside of the window. I would not tint or put ceramic coating on the inside of glass personally. A couple reasons here. It's made for glass as the substrate, and if you're putting a piece of film on there, it's like actually a piece of plastic, so it's not necessarily made for that substrate first. And second, you might have fogging issues if you coat the inside of your glass.
And yeah, especially with a solvent-based product, and if you put it on top of that film, you can possibly damage the film. It's just anytime you deal with solvents like that, it's a good possibility. And like you're saying, that or possibility of fogging.
So those are all, and then all of the things that you can use it for. I think you mentioned you used it in your shower on the glass doors, which I just had to bring that part up again, so everybody thinks about you standing in there with that squeegee. Um, sheesh. Sheesh. What else? You put it in your kitchen too. Stainless steel appliances.
Yes. Yeah, I've used it on stainless steel appliances. I have also used our ceramics on forts and granite at the other house when we lived in Omaha. So to me it's why not be able to use the technology to make it easier to keep my house clean, you know, especially with grandkids, you know, visitors. We went since March of last year up till December. We averaged about 3 weeks to a visitor, is what we averaged. So lots of people coming in, lots of meals being made, so forth and so on. So a lot happens in our kitchen. We use that kitchen a lot when it comes to cooking and entertaining. And it has been a godsend. It really has, to go ahead and have the stainless steel ceramic coated, having the counters ceramic coated. It just makes it so much quicker to clean up.
So we have not only ceramic coatings, but we have peace of mind that can come with the warranty programs that we provide with these ceramic coatings. Um, and I you can use them in your house. You can put stuff on to protect all of these surfaces. We live in a world where everything is just constantly deteriorating from us specifically all the way to every surface that's out there, just from the ozone hitting it and the oxygen and sun and everything. So making your things last a little bit longer with as expensive as everything is a great idea. There is a solution for you with some kind of ceramic from Owner's Pride from the line of products, whether you're trying to put something on your house or you're putting something on your car, there is a solution. Is what I hope that we've kind of painted the picture of.
And it's not so much like you're saying is trying to make something last longer. For me, it's always about time. Time is the only thing that we all get that's of equal value. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day. I don't necessarily want to spend my time cleaning all the time. And so if I can apply something that makes my life easier and I spend less time having clean and more time on the things that I like to do, that to me is the huge benefit. It's gaining time.
No, no, there we go. Mike Morrison had said that he lost all audio, and I was going, I didn't even touch anything this time.
There's
Gosh, that
gremlins.
right? I think we did pretty good today. We even played a video. We didn't lose anything. We were both on right from the beginning. We're, you know,
Weird.
yeah, a year in. We're almost getting professional here. Amazing. All right. So that wraps up another hour of our live Q&A. Um, we will be here every Thursday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. We'll from Mobile Tech Expo. What days will you be at that show?
I'm going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll be there Saturday till noon. I'm looking forward to hanging out and seeing our installers, meeting everybody, talking to everyone, maybe grabbing a drink with someone, maybe a bite to eat, whatever. That's what I'm there for. I'm not going to be sticking myself behind a booth and just being there. I'll be walking about, talking with everybody, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. It's kind of a highlight. I think MTE is very well put together, and there's a lot of classes, a lot of great information, a lot of great companies there with booths too. Um, it's a it's a good solid time. It really is.
Yep, it's a good show, and so anybody who is not going to that, we are doing a training class out here on the West Coast. It's going to be a humdinger, I tells
Hmm.
you, with Jamie Gonzalez and Dustin Wharton and myself. I'm super stoked to. It's going to be a really cool class. So we've already got some people signed up for it. There's still room for more. If anybody's interested, just hit me up, and I will gladly, gladly, gladly give you more information.
Perfect.
All right. So what do you think? We out of here?
I think we're done. Thanks everybody for leaving comments and watching. Any other comments, please list them down below. Dan or myself will get back to you and answer any of your questions. But as always, I literally appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. Until next time, stay glossy.